all I knew about him was what they told me. They told me that his presence filled the room. So when I went to meet him, I was excited, apprehensive. I stood outside the door, took a deep breath, opened the door, went inside, closed the door behind me, and there he was, standing. There was nothing else in the room, no chairs, tables, window here, 3/4 light. I looked at him. He did not look at me. He was lost in his own world. And I remembered what they told me, that his presence filled the room. His presence did not fill the room. It stopped at his head. Between his head and the ceiling was a band of empty space. So I took another step towards him, but he still did not acknowledge me. And I thought, perhaps he was expecting me. Perhaps I am doing everything as expected. And perhaps this band of empty space is manipulated empty space. Yes, I looked at him. He was concentrating, very concentrated. And I took another step towards him because I wanted to go around him and stand behind him and see what it looked like from there. And as I was moving past him, I looked at the empty space above his head. It was no longer a band of empty space. It was a three-dimensional empty space, and in that space was a picture of moonlit night, Peggy White, old woman in a farmhouse, living with her 3 brothers, all old. But I was not happy to see this picture, because this picture was my backup picture. I always do that. When I am going into a situation where I do not feel so sure of myself, I always have an escape. And this was my escape, my backup. So I cannot tell you too much about it, because if I do, then I will need a new backup. But I will tell you a little bit about it. Okay, we will go in a little bit into it. So we have moonlit night, silhouette of trees, Peggy White, old woman, waking up, middle of the night, thinks she hears something, head rising from the pillow. What is it? A fox. The chickens uneasy in the chicken house. She puts on an overcoat over her sleeping clothes, goes down into the yard. Nothing. No fox. Chickens asleep. And she looks at the moon. She looks at the moon for a long moment and forgets herself looking at the moon. And the moon accompanies her back to bed and carries her into her dreams.